friends, how are you all doing? Today is Friday, April 14th, and I'm back for my stitching update. It's been the usual 2 weeks since my last one, so I hope you have all been well and you've been stitching all of the things. If you are brand new to my channel, welcome. My name is Olivia, and this is Pumpkin Hollow Quilts. This is a YouTube channel where I typically will talk about my cross stitch as well as my quilting. However, if quilting is not something you're interested in seeing or hearing, I show it a little bit later on in the video, and I'll let you know in plenty of time that they'll be making their appearance, so that way you can go on to the next Flosstube video. And if you are a returning subscriber, welcome back. So how have you guys all been? I hope you had a wonderful 2 weeks and a good Easter if you celebrate. Our Easter kind of came together, not necessarily last minute, but definitely not how I would typically plan for a family dinner. I, for whatever reason, thought that Easter was this upcoming weekend instead of last weekend. And once I realized it, I sort of threw together Easter dinner. It was a good time. My family came over, so my brother and his family were here, and then my grandma came, and my dad was here, and we had a good time. And I just kind of felt bad that I had dropped the ball. I used to be really good about remembering when the holidays were, when everybody's birthdays are, and as the years have gone on, I can usually remember Thanksgiving and Christmas, and then all the other ones, even the birthdays, if I am not paying attention, could very easily be missed. And that's definitely not something that I hope to remedy it as time goes on, because I really did feel bad that, you know, I had forgotten Easter. Or that, not necessarily that I had forgotten it, but just that, you know, for whatever reason, I thought it was a little bit, you know, later in the month of April. But we had a great Easter. It was good to celebrate with the family. I guess it was Ethan's birthday that was the last time that we all got together. But as far as like holiday meals, having, you know, everybody here to celebrate a holiday without somebody being gone, which in this case, there was somebody missing. But basically, the massive amount of family got together and was able to celebrate. And it was kind of the first time that, you know, we had been together to celebrate a holiday in a while, and it was great. I thought I'd start off today's video by answering a couple of questions that I received in previous videos. First question is, why do I take my redo finishes off of the sticky board that I originally have them mounted to? And the reason why is when I was mounting them onto sticky board, I typically left about 1/4 of an inch around the stitching before I wrapped it onto the back side of the sticky board. And when I go to reframe them or redo them, if I were to just pop them into the custom frame that I've made, I would lose that 1/4 of an inch all the way around. So a lot of the stitching would go into the frame and you wouldn't be able to see it. So by taking it off of the sticky board, making the frame a little bit larger, giving 1/2 of an inch circumference around the entire stitched piece, you can see the stitching and then a little bit of the linen before the rest of it disappears into the frame. I hope that makes sense. The other reason is because I like to put batting behind my stitched pieces. It's just a personal preference. I feel like it softens the look of the framed piece. Not that there's anything wrong with just putting it onto the mat board or the sticky board or whatever you like to mount your finishes onto. But I just feel like it gives it a really nice soft look, and I just kind of gravitate towards that aesthetic. So over the past 2 weeks, I did get a fair bit of progress on some of my projects. I actually was a little bit worried that I hadn't done enough to show in today's video. But then as I started taking things out of the project bag and ironing them, I realized that I actually did a lot more than I thought, which was great. The first project I worked on was the Houses of Hawk Hollow by Carriage House Samplings. So I was working on the first block. I'm stitching this with my friend Yvette and Becky, and what we decided to do is to stitch the first 3 blocks this year. So I have been able to finish the first block in the series, which was super awesome. And here is what it looks like. So I really enjoyed working on this one so very much. I'm stitching on a piece of 40 count Heritage by Picture This Plus, and I am using DMC threads, and I'm stitching it 1/2. So I finally sat down and did the personalizing of this particular block. So I have the first initial of my name and then my last name. And then I decided to put 2023 because that is the year I started this. And then at some point towards the end, I will put the year that I finish it. This is just a long, slow project that we decided to do. I like the fact that it is broken up into little segments. It makes it a lot of fun. I really look forward to getting back to it. I did make some changes to this particular block. So I decided that I wanted this house to be a beautiful mustard color. And then I changed the windows. I decided not to fill them in. I went with the white trim. And in person, you can see it really well. I don't know how well it's showing up on camera, but I was a little bit worried that maybe I needed to do some back stitching or go ahead and fill in the window panes. But in person, it looks fantastic. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave it. Love it, love working on it. So the first change that I made was to the house, and I used DMC 680. And I had somebody ask me, which I forgot to respond to it, but they wanted to know what I would consider the perfect mustard color out of the DMC lineup. And I feel like 680 is the perfect mustard color. You can either go darker or lighter. I decided that I wanted mine to just sort of be like that medium mustard color. And if I could paint my house any color, it definitely would be mustard. The trim I used Ecru. The door is DMC 930. And of course the trim is also in the DMC Ecru. And here is a little bit closer up look of it. Love it. So I'm looking forward to getting to the next block. It is quite a doozy, but I think it's going to be a lot of fun to work on. So this one right here is the second block. And Yvette already went ahead and she broke it up into 4 segments. So a lot of stitching on that one, but I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait to get back to it. My next project was Halloween at Hollyberry Farms by Stacy Nash Primitives. So this one, I think it's the 3rd time that it's come around in my rotation, and I enjoy working on it every single time it shows up. And here is my progress. So I've made it across the top and then started down the sides. I think I still have 2 more flowers to stitch before then it heads across the bottom. But I love working on this one. It's the first one that I have ever stitched the border instead of just stitching pieces of the border as I go along. So I am really hoping that by the time I get down to the bottom, it matches. I love this one. I love the flowers. I love the flowers against the linen, which is 18th Century Rook by R&R Reproductions. And I am using the called for threads. And I really love the combination between the linen and the threads. I just feel like it makes the flowers and the leaves just pop. So I was able to work on this one. And I think it's probably going to be one of those ones that's going to come into the rotation a little bit more than, you know, it should, because I usually try to rotate everything once before I go back to work on something else. But this one I really feel called to work on. My next project is Spooky Countdown by the Primitive Hare. So I'm stitching this one with my friend Yvette. And this one has been a morning stitch for me. And here is my progress. So I think the last time I showed it, I had finished this row right here. And then I dropped down and worked on the first 3 blocks of the next row. I did work a little bit ahead because what we've been doing, or what we set out to do, was to stitch a block a week. So I think I am either a week or 2 weeks ahead. So I'll need to look into that because I usually try to work 2 weeks ahead, and then that way I can go and work on another little small. So I try to rotate this with another little small. I did make a change to the ghost block, which is right here. There was supposed to be a spider that came down out of that web, and I did not put it. I might change my mind and put it in a little bit later, but it's sort of spider season here now, and we have some big, giant, disgusting black ones that are in the house, and they're so disgusting. And I just thought, that's just bad juju if I stitch it. So I left it without, and again, I might at some point decide to go back and put it in, but for right now, I'm gonna leave it. So I'm stitching this on a piece of 36 count jack-o'-lantern by XJUdesigns, and I am using DMC thread. My last project is Elizabeth Furiness 1836 by Hands Across the Sea Samplers. So I am stitching this with my friends Yvette, Becky, and Christy. So I think I showed this in my last video because I had finished the assignment for March, and then I decided to go ahead and work on April's assignment, which was so it was a little bit of the border over here, which I think the border was on page 2, the Cupid or angel, which is in this area, and then we're supposed to drop down and do a third of the grass on one of the other pages. I can't remember which one it is. So I started back on it, and I was able to finish the border up here, the angel, and then I dropped down and worked a little bit on the step, and then just a tiny little bit on the grass. So I still have a fair bit left to go, but I really enjoy working on this one so much. So I'm stitching it on a piece of 40 count Bee's Knees by Seraphim Fabrics, and I am using the DMC conversion that is listed in the chart. Such a beautiful sampler, so gorgeous. So I still have not done any of the personalizing of my great-grandparents' names. I was going to do that over the past 2 weeks, and then I decided once again to kind of hold off and wait until the border wraps around and starts down the side. So, and because it's a lot of over one. Not as much as the verse, but you know, definitely it's still, you know, it's still over one. So I love this one so much. It's so much fun to work on, and I enjoy every single stitch. So I will continue working on her for another couple of days. I am going to work on her until I get that grass portion done. So I've been working on some quilts in the evenings, but I finished both of them. So I will be working on this kind of in their place for the next couple of days. So hopefully I can get that grass section done, and I'll have it to show in my next video. I do have one brand new finish to show in today's video. This particular project, when I filmed my last video, I had no idea I was going to be working on it. It just sort of happened over the weekend. And that is Spring Gathering by Scattered Seed Samplers. And so here it is. I do not have the chart anymore. I went ahead and passed it along to a friend, but I stitched this on a piece of 32 count Irish cream, and I used a variety of threads. So I had most of the called for, except for the pink that you see it stitched with. I had to substitute Gentle Arts Raspberry Frost and Rose Garden, which looked pretty close to what was called for. But I really loved working on this. I pretty much shoved everything aside, everything in my rotation, all of it, and I worked on this for, I think, 3 evenings and then 2 mornings, just because I wanted to get it done. And so the frame is one that I had found at Hobby Lobby months ago. It was in the clearance section. It was one that I think had probably been cut down for someone else. They didn't like it, so Hobby Lobby had it for sale. It didn't sell, and then they marked it way down. I think I bought it for $4.99. And this is a frame that I've seen a lot of people show their framed finishes in that they've had done at Hobby Lobby. Such a beautiful frame. So I definitely was really lucky that I found it. It was the perfect size for this piece, and I absolutely love how it just all came together. And I'm glad that I have a brand new spring finish. I'm trying to do that every holiday. I'm trying to at least stitch one thing that's related to that specific holiday. So I did go ahead and I professionally finished the back. The only thing it doesn't have is a hanger, and that's because I'm not sure that this piece will ever hang. I think it might just be something that I kind of tuck away here and there as the years go by, so it'll be moved around. I love it. It was so much fun to finish. It was very satisfying just to have like a finish. So I loved working on it so much. I did receive some Happy Mail over the past 2 weeks. The quilting Happy Mail I will show in the quilting segment of today's video. But the Fat Quarter Shop sent me some items that are available now on the Fat Quarter Shop's website, and I will put a link to their website down below. The first item is the Flag Day Tumbler template by Susan Aki, and this template is for the Flag Day quilt that is in the Summer Memories quilt by Susan Aki. And I showed the book in my last video, and it's an amazing book. It's got quilting and it's got cross stitch in it as well. I mean, it's just a fabulous, well done book by Susan Aki. So the Flag Day template is available now at the Fat Quarter Shop. I received the Bee in My Bonnet stitch cards by Lori Holt, and this is set P. The next one is Bee in My Bonnet stitch cards by Lori Holt, set O. They're so cute. The Chicken Club Hattie by Lori Holt, a Bee in My Bonnet. This is number 3. Very cute. The Stackables March cross stitch by It's So Emma. Love it. And Welcome Simply Signs pattern number 2 cross stitch by It's So Emma. So awesome. So awesome. So all of these items are available now at the Fat Quarter Shop. Thank you so much to the Fat Quarter Shop for sending those items to me. And again, I will put a link to their website down below. In my last video, I did have a giveaway, and once again, thank you so very much to everybody who played along. Question that I had asked was, what would you ask as a giveaway question? And I loved reading through all of them. I'm going to go back through and I'm going to write some of them down because some of them are just perfect. I love that you guys get into the spirit of the question and that you don't mind answering. I really enjoyed reading through all of the comments. Thank you so very much for playing along. If you are a winner, what you'll need to do is contact me via email and send me your address, and I will get your prize out in the mail to you. Number 1 was for the Spring Bouquet Mill Hill kit, and the winner is Colleen York. Number 2 is Where Liberty Dwells by Brenda Gervais, and the winner is Pam M. Number 3 was for the Home Sweet Home chart by the Fat Quarter Shop, and the winner is Diane Knowles. Number 3 was for the Civil War Sampler book by Barbara Brackman, and the winner is Chris U as the U Flies. And Chris, you're gonna have to tell me how you got your YouTube name because I think it's awesome. And number 5 was for the Joe's Little Favorites 2 by Joe Morton, and the winner is Alley Cat. So congratulations to all of the winners. Again, if you can get a hold of me via email, send me your address. I will get your prize out in the mail to you. Today's video also has a giveaway, and what you will need to do in order to be eligible to win is make sure you're a subscriber, like the video, and answer the question down below. There are 5 items up for grabs, so somewhere in your comment you will need to indicate 1 through 5 which items you are interested in winning. Number 1 is the Stitch Quarterly Cross Stitch Kit by the Fat Quarter Shop. The chart is Sweet Laurel. So the kit comes with the chart Sweet Laurel. It comes with everything you need to stitch, as well as a cute project bag. So if you are interested in winning the kit, it is number 1. Number 2 is the chart All Joys for Thine by Blackbird Designs. So this chart was mine, but now that I have stitched the piece, I would like to pass the stash. So if you're interested in winning this one, it is number 2. Number 3 is the Chicken Club Hattie by Lori Holt of BMI Bonnet. So if you're interested in winning this one, it is number 3. Number 4 is the March Stackables by the Fat Quarter Shop. So if you're interested in winning this one, it is number 4. And number 5 is the Welcome Simply Signs Pattern Series by the Fat Quarter Shop. So if you're interested in this one, it is number 5. And today's giveaway question comes courtesy of Alley Cat. And her question is, where in the world would you live if money was no question? So answer that down below, indicate which items you are interested in winning, and in my next video, I will announce the winners. So where in the world would I live if money was no question? I would live in England. More specifically, I have a friend on Instagram named Allison Jones, and she lives in the most beautiful village I have ever seen. I don't know if it's village or town. I call it a village. I would move there, mostly because I know immediately I would have a friend that would like show me around everywhere. But I would know somebody. And again, her town village is absolutely charming. She also has a brand new puppy, so Freddie would have a friend to play with. And the area that she lives in is just absolutely beautiful. So that is where I would live if money was no question. Well, my friends, as far as all the cross stitching goes, that is all I have to show and share in today's video. I am going to start talking about quilting next, so if that's not something you're interested in seeing or hearing, this is a great jumping off point. And I'll be back in 2 weeks. And if you'd like to see what I'm up to in between my videos, you can follow me on Instagram. I'm Pumpkin Hollow Quilts. I do have a Facebook page called Pumpkin Hollow Quilting. Otherwise, I hope you have a great 2 weeks, and I will see you soon. But now, the quilts. All right, let's talk about quilts. So in today's video, I have 2 quilt tops to show you guys. The past couple of days, I've just been on like overdrive to get these done. I just felt like I needed to have them completed for myself and also for the video. The first one was Scrappy, or is Scrappy Celebrations by Lissa Alexander. So she designed this quilt for American Patchwork and Quilting. They do have a paper or a PDF, a chart available in their shop. It is $6.99. I also thought I had read somewhere that in the American Patchwork and Quilting, in one of the recent magazines, the quilt is in there. But this was designed to celebrate their 35th birthday, I believe. So in the last couple of videos, I've shown you some of the blocks that I had been working on. My goal was to try to get it done somewhere around the 16th of April, which is when the final, even though you had all of the blocks, it was sort of like the final clue, even though you already knew what it was, completed, because it was a quilt along. It started in February. Sometime in February. It must have started the end of February, and then it ended the 16th of April, which is in a few days. So I was able to get it completely done, and I love it. So this is what it looks like. I absolutely love it. It is so scrumptious. And obviously, I'm not going to do this quilt justice. It's been really crappy here the last couple of weeks. We've had a lot of rain, and taking pictures outside is just a no-go. So I won't be able to show a really good photo of this until the weather gets better. But this is what it looks like. I love it. I love it so much. It turned out so fantastic. So this will just be like a utilitarian quilt that just gets put like on the back of the couch and just kind of used as needed. So much fun. I'm so glad that I decided to work on it. I had saw that my friend Retha was putting one together, and I, asked her what it was that she was making, and so she told me about it. And I'm glad that I just happened to go on Instagram at that moment and saw what she was working on, because I immediately jumped in. So if you are interested in making the Scrappy Celebration quilt, I will put a link to American Patchwork and Quilting. Again, they do have it for sale. You can get a paper copy. I believe you can get a paper copy, but you definitely can get a PDF copy of the quilt pattern. It was $6.99, and I will put a link to it down below. If you guys you just want to not mess with the description box, you want to go directly to purchase the pattern, just go to American Patchwork and Quilting, type in Scrappy Celebrations quilt, and it should pop right up. So over the past 2 weeks, I received a little bit of Quilty Happy Mail. Val had contacted me last week, told me that she had a unfinished quilt that she wanted to pass along to me. It was done all out of Judie Rothermel fabrics, and she knows I'm a huge fan of Judie Rothermel, and so she felt like I would be the perfect person to pass it along to, and that once it was completed, I would love it forever. And she was right, because I absolutely love this quilt so much. But before I show it to you, there are all these little bits from the quilt that she included in the box. There were some yummy Civil War fat eights that she included. So beautiful. She also included, so I think this was a contest that had come out. It's called Just Judie Quilt Competition. And what you were supposed to do is make a quilt using Judie Rothermel fabric. So this is full of just scrumptious Judie Rothermel fabric. And I just love it. I've been petting it. I just love it. And then this was the stashing for the unfinished quilt that she sent me. And there was this piece of fabric. So I knew that there was a quilt that had come out, and it was called the Civil War Ladies. And I've never actually seen the fabric in person. I've only ever seen it like on Pinterest in a finished quilt. But this is what the fabric looked like. So it's got all of these gorgeous ladies from the Civil War on it. So she included that fat quarter. And this was the unfinished quilt. So this is called Judie's Album Quilt. This was a block of the month that had been put on by the Temecula Quilt Company. So when the quilt arrived, there were all but this middle row was assembled and put together in the row. So she included the finished blocks, and then she had already cut out the triangles that went around them. So when I started pulling it out of the box and I started looking at it, I fell madly in love with this quilt. It, like, all of the fabrics, all of these fabrics that are in this quilt are only ones that I've ever seen in photographs. So to see the fabrics in person, to touch them, to like have them in a block, I can't even tell you how excited I was. I was so excited that yesterday I shirked all duties. I was supposed to make project bags for my shop. There were so many things I was supposed to do, and I just pushed them all to the side. I did not care. I didn't want to do them. I wanted to work on this quilt. And I got the whole thing assembled. I started working on it. I want to say I started about 11 o'clock in the morning. I stopped and had lunch and then really picked it up in the afternoon. I had to stop a couple of times for different things, but basically the moment I was free, I was back and I was putting the quilt together, and I finished it at 8:45 last night. And here it is. Oh my gosh, I love this quilt so stinking much. But it is a behemoth quilt. Oh my gosh, look at all of these gorgeous fabrics. Oh my goodness. I just love it, love it, love it. I cannot wait to get it quilted. I gotta get backing for it. I gotta figure out how I want to quilt it. I just love it. And so she had all but this blue row done. So these blocks were, I assembled this row here, but she had all the blocks complete and then all the other rows complete. So all I had to do was finish the blue row, fussy cut the blue sashing, and then start assembling. Oh my gosh, I love it. It was so worth shirking my responsibilities yesterday because just to have this done, I'm just so, I can't even, it's just, I am just so blown away. The generosity, I can't imagine, I mean, so very generous of her to send the quilt to me. I will love this quilt for the rest of my life, and it's one of the ones that will be in my burial shrine. But I love it. The generosity, I just can't, I don't have all of the right words. There's just so many wonderful words, and I am so blessed and grateful and blown away. I mean, this was a quilt that I never in a million years thought I would ever see, let alone have it. Like, to have this quilt just blows me away, and I absolutely love it so very much, and I can't wait. I'm gonna pick out some backing for it. I have to wait until next month, but I will get backing for it, and then I'm gonna quilt it, and I cannot wait to get it quilted and just have it around the house, to add it to the Civil War Diaries quilt, and to have it with the Farmer's Wife. Just the three of them together is just going to be so amazing. And then at some point to get the Civil War Tribute quilt assembled and put with it. I mean, like, those are the 4 quilts that I never, ever, ever thought I would ever have. All I ever thought was that I would just see them in photos on Pinterest, on Instagram. You know, I never actually thought that any of those quilts I would have them. And so I'm just so blessed and just grateful. And you guys are so very generous, and thank you. And thank you, Val. I can't wait to get it quilted, and just thank you so much for your generosity. And I am going to cherish that quilt for the rest of my life. I just so blown away. And there was one last thing in the box, and that is a pattern called Rothermel. So it was by Temecula Quilt Company. So fantastic. So I think she had taken all of Judie Rothermel's fabrics and she had created this quilt. And I read that there is a booklet called Alphabet Blues that you can get to personalize it down here. I think I might have it. If not, I might see about getting it, because it would be kind of cool to make a quilt and then just have it say Gust. That would be pretty cool. Now, I do not know if you can get Judie's album quilt anymore. Last night after I finished the quilt, I basically had been Googling to see how people had quilted it, and they had quilted it all different ways. but I didn't actually look to see if I could find the chart or the pattern. I'm not sure if you can still get it because this one was from, I think, 2008, maybe. Maybe it was a little bit later, but it definitely, it's been a while since this particular quilt has come out. And I am not, I thought I had saw somewhere where it says 2008, but I'm not 100% sure. So I don't know that this quilt pattern is still available. If I can find it, I will put it down below, but I am not sure. I am not sure. Again, when I went to go look last night, I got sidetracked by looking to see if how people quilted it. Well, guys, as far as all the quilting goes, that is all I have to show and share in today's video. The plan for me quilting wise is to begin working on block 8 of the Civil War tribute quilt, which is the Gettysburg block. So excited to start working on that one. This working on Scrappy Celebrations was really nice. It was a nice little palette cleanser, you know, just all those blocks and straight sewing, no half square triangle, so it was really nice. But I am looking forward to getting back to Civil War Tribute and beginning the final push to kind of get that one done. And for me will be to be back in 2 weeks. And if you'd like to see what I'm up to in between my videos, you can follow me on Instagram. I'm Pumpkin Hollow Quilts, or I do have a Facebook page called Pumpkin Hollow Quilting, and I will put a link to both of those down below. As always, thank you so very much. If you have stuck around for this length of the video, I really do appreciate it. If you are brand new to my channel and you like what you saw, I would love if you hit the subscribe button. I do upload every 2 weeks, and you can also hit the bell notification and it will let you know every time I have a brand new video up. Thank you so very much for hanging out with me today, and I will see you all again soon. Bye-bye.